I mean, we see what happens. If he does that on the run that he's doing, I mean, it's kind of hard to deny that. And that would be a freaking huge super fight. And with him having the punching power he has, is just unreal, bro. So you can't count him out or whatever. People be sleeping on Jack, you know what I mean? And I think Jack is one of the best fighters in the world right now, and I think people is gonna find out when that match happens. I don't know. I'm hearing rumors maybe October. I think it's going to be a fun fight, smart fight, but a lot of people counting out Jack for I don't know what reason. They just keep counting him out.
After an incredible win at UFC 318, Max Holloway wants a rematch against Ilia Topuria and warns Islam Makhachev not to fight the current lightweight champion because of his brutal knockout power.
The Ilia Topuria rematch is something like you might want, right? La revancha con Ilia Topuria es algo que quieres.
For sure. For sure. For do what he did to me, the first man to do it, of course I want revenge.
On the other hand, Jack Della Maddalena sent a strong message to Islam Makhachev ahead of their possible title fight. He said Islam was too small for him and predicted an easy finish. Jack seemed fully confident, saying he would use his power and size to overwhelm Islam. He made it clear he wasn't afraid and was ready to go straight at him.
Your first defense is most likely against pound-for-pound #1 in the world, the lightweight champion Islam Makhachev. Talk me through about that particular matchup and what you think and how excited you are to prove yourself yet again.
Yeah, it's the dream first title defense, pound-for-pound #1. Get him back to Volk. We saw what Volk did to him. I'm gonna get him. He's too little. I'm gonna get him.
However, Joe Rogan has warned the welterweights about the threat of Islam Makhachev. He believed Islam was a huge athlete and said he couldn't believe how he had been making weight in the lightweight division.
Islam Makhachev is huge. I mean, that guy, how he makes 155 is, I don't understand it. Every time I stand next to him, like, how are you 155?
How much do you think he walks around?
He's got to be 190-ish, in the 190 range. He's got to be. That's what he looks like to me.
I never saw him in person.
Yeah, he's thick. He's thick and big. I mean, he's not a 155-pound man.
Joe Rogan further discussed Islam Makhachev's strength, which had helped him dominate the lightweight division. He had called Islam Makhachev a monster and acknowledged his skills in beating great fighters like Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier.
Makhachev is so f***ing good. He's so good that he head kicked Alexander Volkanovski in the rematch. He submits everybody. He submitted Dustin Poirier. He's a monster. When he gets guys on the ground, he just crushes them.
Meanwhile, Islam Makhachev had been training hard because he knew that Jack Della Maddalena would be a tough opponent. He had praised Jack's performance against Bilal Muhammad and had noted how much Jack had improved since his early UFC days, especially in wrestling. Islam had respected Jack as a well-rounded champion, but had believed they would soon find out who was truly the best. In his eyes, the fight wouldn't have taken long to reveal the answer.
What do you think he's going to be a hard fight for you? I know he said he wants to get one back for Alexander Volkanovski here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hard fight. Honestly, it's gonna be. I saw his fight against Bilal. He's good, man. He is good. When he beginning fighting in UFC, he had problem with the wrestling, but now he's improved because I see he training a lot with the wrestlers, with the grapplers, and that's why he's a champion right now, and he's good everywhere. But we will see who is the best fighter in the world.
Yeah,
very soon.
Yeah.
And it's going very quick.
However, let's get back to the main topic about Max Holloway speaking about a possible fight between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev. He said Ilia's knockout power makes him a real threat, especially if Islam becomes the welterweight champion. In that case, Max believes Ilia would have earned a chance to go for a third title. He sees the matchup as a massive super fight that fans shouldn't miss. While Max still hopes for a rematch with Islam one day, he understands that Ilia going for a third belt would be a big moment for the sport.
I mean, we see what happens, if he does that on the run that he's doing. I mean, it's kind of hard to deny that, and that would be a freaking huge super fight. And with him having the punching power he has, is just unreal, bro. So you can't count him out or whatever in anything. But I mean, who's to say? That's not my job. I mean, if he goes up, he goes up. He's his man. Do I want that fight back? 100%. But I can't be like, hey, stay down here, blah blah blah, and cry about it. So at the end of the day, if he does that, which he probably deserves it. Not probably, he deserves it. So I think that would be a fun fight too. I think that it'd be super interesting if that fight ever was booked.
Max Holloway also gave his thoughts on Islam Makhachev's move to welterweight and his possible fight with Jack Della Maddalena. While he praised Islam's talent, he also warned that Jack is a dangerous opponent who shouldn't be underestimated. Max believes Islam can succeed at 170 pounds, but feels Jack has the tools to make things interesting if the fight happens later this year.
I just wanted to get your thoughts on Islam moving up to welterweight. And how do you think he's going to do out there?
I think he'd be fine, man. I think he'd be good, but people be sleeping on Jack, you know what I mean? And I think Jack is one of the best fighters in the world right now, and I think people is going to find out when that match happens. I don't know. I'm hearing rumors maybe October. I think it's going to be a fun fight, smart fight, but a lot of people counting out Jack for I don't know what reason. They just keep counting him out. Kind of reminds me of when I was like coming up and counting me out about certain fights. So I mean, he is, he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world right now, but he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world for a reason. So you gotta respect that, but don't sleep on Jack. I think it's gonna be a tough and fun fight.
In a recent interview, Dustin Poirier also spoke about the Islam versus Ilia fight. He said that Islam Makhachev has the right frame for welterweight and could become champion there. He noted that Islam is already a big lightweight and should have no trouble moving up to 170. Poirier also shared interest in the potential fight with Jack Della Maddalena, saying the early moments would show a lot, especially how Jack deals with the threat of takedowns.
Speaking of Islam, what's your thoughts on him moving up to welterweight?
He's a big guy. I think he's going to fill into that weight. He's a really big 155er. So I think his lifestyle outside of training camp is going to be a little more comfortable, and he'll fill into that weight class no problem. He could be champion there for sure.
How do you think he does against JDM?
I think the beginning of the fight's going to tell the story, like how well JDM does at getting up, how well JDM does at keeping Islam off of his feet, off of his legs, off of the cage. It's tough to call that because JDM's a big guy, athletic. I'm excited about that. A lot of fun fights in the future.
Dustin Poirier also shared his view on the Islam versus JDM matchup, saying it might not last long. He described it as a high-stakes battle where one small error could end things fast. He felt the fight would be tense, with fans unsure who would crack first or lose control of their game plan under pressure.
Do you think he beats Jack Della Maddalena?
I think we'll find out first, second round how much trouble he has getting him down. I think if he gets those takedowns, he's going to get the win. If Jack can stop those takedowns, which he does have good takedown defense, I think the boxing and the size could wear on Islam and give him some problems. But his striking's, awkward and different. You have to worry so much about the takedown. You can't plant your feet and throw off those number combinations and really rip and sit on your punches because he's going to change levels. So it changes the way you fight. Well, for me, it did. I'm speaking from experience. So we'll see how Jack approaches and how Jack executes out there. But if you're worried about takedowns, your shots are different. You're not sitting on everything and standing in front of the guy. You're trying to move and be light on your feet. I think the first 2 rounds will tell us how this fight's going to go.
Meanwhile, Jack Della Maddalena acknowledged that Islam Makhachev looks like a naturally big fighter, so he expects Islam to adjust well to the welterweight division. However, he's aware that many fans believe Islam would easily take him down and finish the fight early.
But I'm sure people are just going to assume that Islam will just take me down and submit me pretty quickly.
Do you think he'll be big enough for 170?
I think he just seems like a pretty big guy.
Yeah.
I think he'll be alright.
Jack Della Maddalena expressed confidence about a potential fight with Islam Makhachev. He believed he could catch Islam with clean shots, especially since he noticed Islam rarely switches stances. Jack also felt sure that even if he got taken down, he would be able to work his way back up.
How do you see it playing out?
I think I can take him out. I think. But Bilal really just changes stances a lot, walks forward. But I think if I can have someone that just stays in the same stance, and I don't think Islam's the very good striker. I think I could land a lot of shots, and I think I could take him out.
Wow.
Stuff the takedowns. If I get taken down, I believe I can get back to my feet.
On the other hand, Craig Jones gave his take on Islam Makhachev's next test and suggested it could be his toughest yet. He pointed to Jack Della Maddalena's unpredictable style as a possible problem for Islam, saying this matchup might show fans a new side of the lightweight champ as he moves into unfamiliar territory.
How do you think the fight against Islam goes?
I think it's a super difficult fight for Islam, this one. He's like Obviously, he's faced Volk twice. We'll forget about the second one, but the first one, very competitive with the grappling. And now we're talking about he's facing a guy that's some of the best scrambling ability, I think, period, in all of MMA, and some of the most unorthodox grappling. And I think that's what Belal struggled with. Belal really just sticks to a blueprint. The blueprint obviously works very well, but in terms of creativity in what Belal does, I think it's pretty strict. Jack, as you saw in that fight, some of his off balances and grip breaks and some of the things he does, it's really hard to prepare for that.
Craig Jones also hinted that Jack Della Maddalena might have a secret weapon that could catch Islam Makhachev off guard. He suggested there's something unexpected in Jack's game that could completely change how the fight plays out, and he seemed confident that a big upset might be coming.
Islam, the size difference is going to be quite a lot bigger than people think. And we've seen how Volk did on the ground and how much Islam struggled with him in the grappling exchanges. And having seen Jack and Volks work together, seeing the skill sets, like, this is a perfect one. The UFC want guys that stand and bang. I'm trying to still help them out, even though potentially enemies.
Do you feel confident about this one?
Yeah, very, very confident for this one.
Furthermore, featherweight champ Alexander Volkanovski reflected on the difference between getting hit by Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. He said that even though Ilia's knockout kept him down longer, and in hindsight, he admitted he should have allowed himself more time to recover before getting back into action.
From the Islam, I feel like I had more of a concussion from the Islam one.
Yeah,
even though I was knocked out longer with Ilia, I had a lot more of the symptoms than that with the Islam one. So I probably should have had more of a break.
Alexander Volkanovski also shared his take on a potential fight between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. He pointed out that Islam's all-around game makes him a serious threat, but Ilia's knockout power adds an unpredictable element. Volkanovski believes that Ilia's ability to finish fights quickly is what makes this matchup so intriguing and hard to predict.
How would you see that fight going between Islam and Ilia?
Yeah, I mean, Islam's really good, you know what I mean? But again, Ilia's the type of guy that he could knock out anyone. So he's got power in them hands, you know what I mean? Everyone knows that. You go in there, fight him, you know that that's his chance of winning.
Volkanovski added that Ilia Topuria might be the toughest challenge for Islam Makhachev. Having shared the cage with both, Volk highlighted Ilia's knockout power as the kind of threat that could seriously test Islam, especially if they meet in the future.
If they do fight, who wins?
Look, the thing is with Ilia, he is a dangerous fighter and he can catch anyone. You know, if he goes there and he's stoic and he's, you know, even if the fight's not going his way, he will not eventually get it, but he's going to keep trying to find it. You know, them later rounds are going to get harder for him, but, you know, if he was to land, he could definitely knock him out.
Meanwhile, Alexander Volkanovski also looked at the potential fight between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev and said Jack's bout with Belal Muhammad had been the perfect test. He believed defending Belal's takedowns gave Jack a major boost in confidence and proved his defensive skills had improved. Volk felt that even elite grapplers would have a hard time getting Jack to the ground or keeping him there.
Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena. How do you think those two match up?
I think Jack's fight against Belal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stop and takedowns, because again, every fighter's still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. You know, I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, like, you know, worried about, you know, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, like, I guarantee you if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. You know, only the top guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
On the other hand, Max Holloway questioned Ilia Topuria's win streak, saying it is a bit overrated. He pointed out that while Ilia did beat top names, the timing mattered. Volkanovski had just been knocked out by Islam Makhachev, and Charles Oliveira hadn't built much momentum before their fight. Max felt that people often focus more on the names than on the condition those fighters were actually in at the time.
I mean, for sure, you know, you can't sleep on it, you know, but it's just tough, right? Yeah, he has the names, right? He beat the names, and you can't deny that. But then, you know, when you look, it just sucks that, you know, with everything that's going on, when you look at, you know, that Volk fight, you know, with that Volk coming off of what he did, that's kind of crazy. But people just look at the name, you know. They're not looking at the record. They're just looking at, oh yeah, Alex was the champ, you know, and then me, and then Charles did what he did. But Charles was on him, what was Charles on? A 1 fight win streak, you know. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's just moments, you know, and it's just names. It is one of the greatest names for sure that he beat in history. But the man is doing what he's supposed to do, you know. He's lining, UFC are lining people up for him, and he's just knocking them down, you know, so fair play to him, you know, he's going out there doing his job.
However, Max had to clarify his comments after getting backlash from Ilia's fans. He said that even though Justin Gaethje's punches felt heavier during their fight, it was Ilia who actually knocked him out. Max admitted he didn't feel the shot from Ilia at the time, but it obviously had real power since it finished the fight.
I said that, what I said was, I said that I felt shots from Gaethje that felt harder, but obviously he hit me with something that put me down. But I didn't feel it, but of course, that's why if you watch and continue on to the interview, I say, of course, he's one of the UFC pound for pound hardest hitters, you know, but as me feeling it, the question was, who hits harder or who did you feel? The one that I could feel, I remember. In the fight, even in my corner with Gaethje, I was like telling him, holy shit, this guy hits like a truck, you know, so, or even his kick. But, you know, with Ilia, I didn't feel nothing, you know, but of course he did put me down, so obviously he hits hard, but I can't tell you, oh my God, he hits so hard. I didn't feel it, so that was the question. So I'm glad you asked me that, so people from Spain can finally see it and be like, oh man, I'm an idiot. I didn't read the interview. I got clickbaited. You guys got jabaited, so it's funny.
Meanwhile, Arman Tsarukyan believes that both he and Islam Makhachev would be tough matchups for Ilia Topuria. He noted that Topuria hadn't really faced high-level wrestlers yet, except for Bryce Mitchell, whom he was able to handle. But in Arman's opinion, guys like him and Islam would easily take Topuria down and control him on the ground without much trouble.
Очень хороший бокс, очень сильно бьет, тяжело бьет. И он выжидает, то есть он не торопится, он ждет своего момента, не форсирует события. Это тоже очень хорошая черта. Мало спортсменов, у кого есть это. Он, если, допустим, пропустит удар, сразу не летит. Он, знаешь, спокойно, очень грамотно ведет, хороший IQ у него. Вот эти у него самые сильные стороны. Слабые стороны — это...
А вот в чем будет твое преимущество?
В завязках, именно в завязках он начинает уставать. Вот над этим надо будет работать, чтобы у него забрать эту его силу ударную.
Как тебе грэпплинг Топурия?
У него не было борцов хороших. У него был один парень, Бryce Mitchell. Только он, кто его перевел и держал, ну, он тоже не уровневый боец. И я не могу судить его борьбу. Но я знаю, что Islam, такие борцы могут его перевести и держать легко на стиле.
On the other hand, Stephen Thompson gave his honest opinion on Islam Makhachev moving up to welterweight. He suggested that some frustration is building among the contenders who have already been waiting for their chance. With so many fighters lined up, Thompson felt the situation raises questions about who really deserves the next big opportunity.
What are your thoughts on Islam making this move and how he matches up with JDM?
Well, number one, if I was in the top 5, I would be very upset that this guy who just got the title is already looking at somebody from a different division. Like, you know, if it was me, who if I'm in the top 5, more deserving than, you know, this guy coming up, like I've been waiting here. Where's the Shavkat Rakhmanovs? Where's the Ian Garys? Where are the, you know, these guys that Usman, who's been in the mix, is back in the mix, if you will, after beating Buckley. Like, these guys, I think, are more deserving of it because they've been there. Like if it was me, I would want JDM to like fight at least one more time or 2 more times if we're looking at somebody from a different weight class.
Stephen Thompson hinted that if Islam Makhachev ends up fighting Jack Della Maddalena, it could be one of his toughest tests yet. He suggested the matchup would push Islam in every area, challenging his skills like never before. Thompson believes fans would be eager to see how Islam deals with such a dangerous and pressure-heavy opponent.
Now, I think it's a good fight. I think it's a very tough fight for Islam Makhachev coming up, a bigger guy, a guy with great takedown defense, and a guy that's fought, who just won the title from somebody very similar to himself in Bilal Muhammad, cardio for days, strong grappling background. I do believe that Islam has a better striking than than Bilal does. So I think that would be interesting. But I think it's a very tough fight for Islam, for sure.
Jorge Masvidal also gave his thoughts on the possible fight between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena, saying Islam likely has the advantage with his grappling and control. However, he didn't rule out a surprise, hinting that Jack might rise to the occasion and show something special if the fight turns into a war.
I've seen Islam, bro. He's a big guy. He's sucking out a lot of weight to get to 55. I think he might start doing better at 70. Problem is though, Jack is special. We're gonna see just how special he is if he beats Islam Jack, #1 pound for, wow, that's impressive, you know. I'm leaning towards Islam, brother.
Oh, really?
You know, but I really think it's gonna be a tough fight for him, but a great fight, man.
Jack was able to defend takedown attempts by Bilal.
Bilal has the best cardio in MMA, but Bilal doesn't have Islam's technique. Not same technique. Not same. Very good, very aggressive. Bilal never stops a dog. Attack. But Islam is like smart, man. Boom. You know, Islam's level of wrestling is above. The stand-up game is improving. I don't think he could go stand-up in the beginning with Jack. Jack has way better hands, way better range, faster, stronger. But as the rounds go on later and later, he could do.
UFC middleweight Jack Hermanson also shared his thoughts on Islam Makhachev moving up to welterweight. He admitted it had always been hard to predict how a fighter would perform in a new weight class, but said Islam looked nearly unbeatable at lightweight and might have been the best pound-for-pound fighter at the time. While he acknowledged that Jack Della Maddalena had looked strong in his fight with Belal Muhammad, Hermanson still believed Islam was a level above and would come out on top.
Yeah, it's so hard because you never know when people are changing weight classes. But in lightweight, you know, Islam looks like unbeatable. It's just like maybe the pound for pound best. It's just looks so insanely good. But can he do it in a weight class above? I'm not sure. Really hard to predict a fight like that. I think I still have to say Islam.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, we need to see a few more fights with Jack. He looked amazing against Bilal, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's something about Islam is just so good.
UFC bantamweight Mario Bautista said he was picking Jack Della Maddalena to defeat Islam Makhachev. He pointed out that Jack had been difficult to keep down and had proven his takedown defense in past fights. Bautista also saw Jack as the superior striker and believed that if Jack could keep the fight standing, he had a strong chance to pull off the win.
You know, I'm gonna go with JDM on that one. I think he's really hard to hold down. You know, Belal got him down a few times, but he was able to get back up. And then JDM just has great striking. You know, I think he's better than Islam in the striking department. So if he can keep it standing and just kind of make it similar to how he fought Belal, I think he can get a win over Islam.
So this is all we have from today's video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Share your thoughts and predictions about this fight in the comment section, and subscribe to our channel to get more updates about this highly anticipated encounter.